How do everybody? I'm just wanting to talk today about just problems that the right seems to be facing in politics. Now, we've obviously seen the by-election in Rochdale where George Galloway's won significantly, um, but it was less than a 40% turnout in there. And I keep seeing on things like online and hearing people talking where basically there's this purity spiral happening amongst people on the right, and what I basically mean by that is you'll have, I don't know, let's say somebody really obvious like Tommy Robinson, and people are, oh yeah, Tommy Robinson's alright, but then he supports Israel, so I'm going to completely discount him. Or they'll say somebody, I support somebody else, but they support Palestine, so I'm going to completely disregard everything they say, and it's absolutely unsustainable, and it's just we are never, as a group of people, going to achieve anything if we keep going down these purity spirals. Um, the basic point of it is look at how the left operates. When you see groups like Hope Not Hate and Let's Kick Racism Out of Football and all these far left organisations, they will have a lot of things that they disagree on, but they still all support each other. They don't. When somebody talks about a far left organisation, let's say they're on about some really anti-Semitic things because of what's happening with Israel and Palestine, members of the Labour Party or other left wing organisations won't castigate them for it, even if they do massively disagree with them. They'll just briefly brush over it, ignore it, and then carry on talking about what they were talking about. And maybe behind closed doors, they'll challenge each other on these things. And we really need to start doing that ourselves. Because at this moment in time, we are just a broken and fractured group of people just shouting into thin air. And while we are separated, we are absolutely, you're like grumpy, typical chameleon behaviour. That absolute misery. They are not happy animals at all. Do not be fooled. But anyway, yeah, we just absolutely are completely ineffective. And with that, I do think on the right we do need to start forming our own forms of organisations, comparable ones that the left has. Now, why are the left so organised? And I think, although this isn't completely exhaustive in what I'm saying, I think there's two main factors. One of those is the obvious, which is universities. They have control of the universities, the left, and with that, you don't really need the majority. And by that, I don't mean the overwhelming majority of students and that. It's just key members of faculty. That's all you need, and they allow they can organise and whip up students into frenzies and groom them into believing certain things, and even incentivising them with giving them, say, particular marks for holding certain political views, and they can release them for these protests that we're seeing. How many students go on these protests? Thousands and thousands of them. So it's very easy for them to organise those groups. But there's also, and this is, I think, more important, is the unions. They are literally unionised. And a lot of these unions do disagree on a lot of things, but they never challenge each other. They never argue. They never bicker amongst themselves. And when they do, it's all behind closed doors, away from prying eyes. So people on the right, specifically the dissident right, if you put your money where your mouth is, it's all well and good going on the internet complaining about these things, but unless people start getting serious and start putting money into these things and start organising properly, we are going to get absolutely nowhere. Now let's play a little bit of a thought experiment with this. Let's say we've got four groups, or even three groups. You've got reds, greens, and blues groups, and all three of them are right-wing groups, and they hold very similar points of view. Now the Reds are very pro firearms ownership. Self-defense or whatever. And even defending property. Go full on Texas with it. Now the Greens and the Blues hate that. Now the Greens, they're again right-wing, all three of them right-wing politics, but they're really pro-Israel. Now the Reds and the Blues really aren't that keen on Israel. Maybe not because they're anti-Semitic, but they're just more concerned, let's say, just to make it easier, just They just want to focus on Britain, right? Now the Blues, let's pick some for the Blues, which may be slightly contentious. I don't know. Abortion. They absolutely are 100% against all abortions, no matter what. Now, these three groups, Reds, Greens and Blues, agree on everything else. But those three things, the other two of each group, 100% disagree with whatever the other two stand for. Now, when those three groups are out getting spoken to, let's say the Reds are on a TV interview, and the interviewer says to the Reds, well, the Blues over there, yeah, you agree with them on a lot of things, but they are against abortion in all ways, shapes, or form. What do you agree with that? And what's currently happening at the moment is people who are on Team Red are doing things like, oh, we completely disavow that. In fact, those people are Nazis for saying that. We hate them. We can't stand them. We've got to stop doing that. We've just got to turn around and just start saying things. Well, that's the prerogative. We support them on more. We agree with them on more things than what we disagree, and we live in a democracy, so they're allowed to have those ideas. Right, anyway, I want to talk to you about these policies of ours, like with the Reds, be like, I want to talk to you about gun ownership rights. And it's the same with the Greens and the Blues. If the Greens get asked about what the Reds like, which is gun rights, the interviewer says to the Greens, yeah, but what do you think about mass shootings in America? The Greens, rather than say, oh, we are 100% against gun ownership, and anybody who wants to own a gun is a right-wing nut job, and we completely disavow the Reds for that. They are absolute nutters. Stay away from those losers. We're not like them. Because all you're doing is you're doing the left's work for them. We've got to stop this infighting and this bickering like this. And in that situation, it's like, well, you know what? We live in a democracy, and if they want to support gun ownerships, they've got a legal prerogative to support that cause, and if they get it passed, then that's the way the law works. Anyway, let's talk about these other things. And that's what we need. That is exactly what the left do, and we need to start doing that. Because otherwise, all you're doing is you're literally doing the left's work for them, which is divide and conquer. They're getting us all to fight and bicker amongst ourselves. And we've really, as I said in my last video, I don't really support reform that much, but I'm going to be voting for them because we've got to work as well within the framework that is on offer. If you're trying to fix a picture to your wall in your house and all you have is a hammer and a nail, you're not going to do the best job with it. You've got breeze block walls. You're not going to do the best job with it, but you've got to use that hammer and get it into that breeze block wall the best you can to hang your picture. If you haven't got the drill, and you haven't got a wall plug, and you haven't got the proper hanging screws and things like that, well, it's tough. You're just going to have to work with what you've got, and that's what we've got. So reform at the moment are the only viable option. And there's no point saying, oh, reform this, there's this guy who's from Hope not hating reform, or, oh, have you seen that guy who's running in the by-election against Gorgeous George? Oh, he was texting a 17-year-old girl. Well, you know what? Yeah, it's disgusting. And yeah, it's crap that Hope not hate of infiltrating reform. But we have no other option. Once reform have at least broken the back of the Tories, not even going to power, we can then start discussing further things. But we've got to achieve one goal at a time. We've got to have realistic aims and aspirations of where we're going to move as a political force. And at least be in some sort of agreement that what is happening now is bad. And all of us agree that we need to move away and back to something more traditionally British. We can argue amongst ourselves about the minor details at a later date. Once we've got control back, once we are in control of the culture, the values, and the traditions of the nation, we can then argue and bicker amongst ourselves over the less significant things. But at the moment, like the one thing that I'll say about like reform is they seem to be against mass immigration. Now they are proposing what I believe is a one in, one out. Well, you know what? That's not what I want. I would like mass deportation, but one in, one out is a damn sight lot better than what we've got at the moment. And that's what I'm willing to, for the moment, compromise. And it's about compromising. But again, people who are far more intelligent than me, I mean, there's I highly recommend listening to his videos, by the way. A guy called Academic Agent. Very, very intelligent man. Now he does a lot of courses which you can buy and it's things like, I don't know, learning to write properly and learning to, I don't know, public speaking. Very academic things. And I'm sorry to single out Academic Agent. It's just the first one that popped into my head. But men like him need to start doing courses to help basically crayon munchers like me, teaching us how to organise and do it free, because people like him, they want what we want as well. And they need to start making these sacrifices, just like we do as well. We need to start taking time off and going on these protests. We need to start forming unions and putting our money in our pockets. And these people are far more intelligent than the average person like myself. They need to start dipping into their own proverbial pocket and teaching us, giving us their time for free. And I know that might sting a little bit, but what do you want? Do you want more of the same? Because that's what we're getting at the moment. Unless we start making sacrifices as a collective group as well, we are going to get absolutely nowhere. I mean, that's... You're right, trying to climb. Go on then. Up you go. Up you go. But unless we start organising properly and start putting our money where our mouths are, we're not going to achieve anything at all. She's getting a bit restless, so I'm going to have to get her away, I think, in a second, and she's going to fall off my head because there's nothing there for her to grip onto. But I'm going to leave it at that because somebody needs to go back in a tank. Anyway, I'll speak to you later, and I know it's not very in-depth, and I've probably explained it like an absolute grognard, but I'm trying to get across. But I hope it at least gives people something to think about and start discussing amongst each other as well, these sorts of things. Anyway, take care. If you've found that interesting anyway, or giving you something to think about, please do like, subscribe, and put a comment below. And I'll never ask this normally, but please share this video amongst people who are like-minded and maybe influential as well, because we really, really do need to start working together better. You can't herd cats, but you can at least get them all going in the same direction, and that's what we need to be aiming for. Anyway, thank you. Goodbye.